Monster Hits Club podcast and break room show for sports card and hobby enthusiasts. Brought to you by Piece of the Game. And now, here's your host, First Pitch Mitch.
Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Monster Hits Club, episode 5. I am joined by my co-host, Steve P., a.k.a. Quarantine Steve, a.k.a. Sam Darnold Superfan. Steve, what's up?
Happy Monday, Mitchell.
How the heck are you? How was your weekend?
It was uneventful as usual, but hopefully with the good weather coming, to be able to get out a little bit.
There is some good weather coming up here in New York, and I'm excited about that. Maybe we could do some social distancing and stop by and say hi to each other. I hope you wished your mother a happy Mother's Day. We had a pretty big weekend.
I certainly did. I did a little FaceTiming with the mom, so she enjoyed that.
Excellent.
My brother spent a few hours over there, so she had a good Mother's Day.
Did you talk cards with your mother over FaceTime like we do?
My mother has little to no interest in the card game.
Gotcha. Well, today I think we're going to have a little fun because I've been waiting to do this probably since episode 1. I've wanted to do this, but with the state of the country being quarantined and how slow the postal service seems to be moving right now, no offense to them, of course, but
I've had a shipment in Lubbock, Texas since about February, so I can concur with that one.
I have one package it's literally just, I think it's in the Matrix.
Seriously. I think I bought like a 2005 product when it first came out.
It's insane. I have no idea what's going on. It's in the Matrix. I think it'll be here tomorrow. That was the shipment, my first shipment of Mosaic that I was supposed to get. So
yeah, you've been waiting on this one for a while.
Yeah, this is actually my second and third shipment came today of Mosaic. Obviously, you can't find this on the shelves if you go to your local Walmart and Target. It's impossible to find, so I've been buying it through breakers, doing which the prices are absolutely off the chain right now. So you're talking about.
I can't remember the last time I saw a basketball product on a retail shelf. I really can't.
Yeah, it's really hard to find. You're breaking up a little bit there.
Okay. How's that?
Much better.
Okay.
We definitely have some thunderstorm activity in the area today, so it looks like we're having some streaming issues right now, actually, online, and obviously with your voice coming through right now. So hopefully we're about to get into it, so I don't think people miss much, maybe just a little bit of an intro. But I think too many of the kids upstairs on this quarantine, they're up there streaming their YouTube, sucking away Wi-Fi.
Too much roadblocking.
Oh my gosh, they're sucking the life out of our stream right now. I mean, it's really poor. This is the worst I've seen it. This is the absolute worst I've seen it. I mean, it's not good. So, of course, for my favorite episode of doing this, it's going to be the worst quality video that we've put out so far, of course.
I wish it was the sticker episode.
Oh, yeah. Yes. All right, so.
That was me creating the screen problem.
Gotcha. So.
I was on your roof bending the antenna.
Before we get into the product, because I really do, I'll give a little history behind Mosaic in a minute, but I really love the product this year. I mean, I know I'm putting the cart. What did he say? The cart before the horse, or however you say that. Yeah. But I really do love it this year. And they've dropped the Prism name from Mosaic. So now Mosaic's a standalone product, as if we didn't need another basketball product. But they actually.
I think that's a good move. I think you don't need another Prism product. I think that's a good, smart move.
Yeah. And I believe the past couple of years, Prism Mosaic was an online-only purchase. I don't think it was as popular. This year it's off the chain popular. It's incredibly...
So now, correct me if I'm wrong. So we're left with Prism, Prism Choice, and Prism Draft? Are the only three left?
Prism Choice, Prism Draft for the Prism basketball products.
Yes.
You also have Fast Break.
I forgot about that. Okay.
I think that's it. I can't think of any other off the top of my head right now. But I'm glad they dropped the Mosaic and made it its own, because now it's its own product. It kind of has, and I'll show you in a minute. I don't think Mosaic. It wasn't my favorite. Actually, it was probably one of my least favorite products of the past couple of years. And the only time I've ever gotten any Mosaic cards is if I did like a big mixer and Mosaic was included. And then I have some Mosaic cards that we could just compare in a minute that I acquired in probably a break that I did a year, 2 years ago. Who knows? But I do have some Mosaic older, so we can kind of look at both, and you'll see what I mean. Like the product now is just so much better. It's a really quality product. I really like it. It's one of my favorite products right now. So we'll leave it at that. But aside from that, little sidestep here. Did you watch the Jordan documentary last night, Last Dance? Are you with me, Steven?
Yes. Can you hear me, Mitch?
Now I can.
I actually watched it after work today.
Oh, so now here's my question, because we've had an ongoing debate, not so much a debate. I know that you respect Jordan's game, and I respect LeBron's game, but we're both kind of on different ends of the spectrum. We both agree it's really hard to compare players from different generations, obviously, because the game is just completely different. I mean, if you go watch a Steph Curry highlight right now, and watch him zigzag and run in circles through the freaking lane, and nobody touches him, nobody plays defense, the dude's not even sweating, and then he just somehow ends up behind the three-point line and throws up a three-pointer that goes in. Now, in the 1990s, that wouldn't have happened. I think we both agree. There's no way he'd be running in circles in the lane. He would have been put on his ass. He'd never do it again. And I'm not taking away from his greatness, obviously. He plays a particular type of game, but a lot of the things that he gets away with now, and that goes for a lot of players, would not fly in the late 80s, early 90s. It's just the nature of the beast. We've seen the game soften up, and every sport's kind of softened up through the years as they look to protect their assets, their players that they spend millions, if not billions, eventually, of dollars in, and they want to protect them. So there's rules, there's regulations that are put in place, obviously, to protect these guys. But that shit wouldn't fly in the early 90s. So we agree that you cannot compare generations.
We have no arguments down there. He would have been put on his ass multiple times and go into the lid like that.
Or as I like to say, they would shove his mouthpiece up his ass.
There's a good chance.
There's a good chance Charles Oakley would have held him down and Anthony Mason would have shoved the mouthpiece directly up Steph Curry's ass.
I do want to add one thing about these Bulls episodes.
Okay.
It has not changed my opinion of Jordan. I think Jordan is what he was. The guy that, I don't want to say he gets lost to history because he doesn't, but when you watch these, aside, I understand he sat out the last shot when Kukoc took the shot. It's a blight on his record. But regardless, Scottie Pippen was an unbelievable basketball player.
Yeah, I agree. And we're hearing a lot of that. I mean, that's what I'm hearing a lot in sports media now, is how Scottie Pippen is kind of getting lost in the shuffle with this. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of people thought this was going to be kind of his coming out party. They started investing heavily into Scottie Pippen cards, and I think it's been kind of the opposite. I think Dennis Rodman is getting more publicity and more push for how impactful he was to the Bulls than Scottie Pippen was.
It's skewed a lot towards Rodman.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's skewed towards Rodman's impact, which is silly because the teams. I understand people think the '96 Bulls are the greatest team ever. I think I think the best Bulls team of this whole run is '92. If you had asked me what the best Bulls team is, the Horace Grant.
Yeah, I was gonna say when Grant was there. Yeah, and here's my question now: Now, this is the question, and this all led up to this. Because we've had these discussions before, and like I said, we're kind of on both ends of the spectrum. We know we can't compare, but you kind of lean LeBron, I think. I kind of lean Jordan. I heavily lean Jordan, actually. And my question to you is, and this is just a hypothetical about the people who say LeBron's the GOAT, and then what if, I want to know if you think there would be a debate if Jordan never left the NBA for baseball, they win 8 straight titles. Now, I know a lot has to happen for that to happen, obviously. Everyone's got to stay healthy. But let's be real here. There's a very good chance that if Jordan stays healthy, Pippen stays healthy for the most part, they win 8 straight titles. Because I don't know if those Rockets teams, I don't know if they could have taken the Bulls, if that makes sense. I think the Bulls would have been the superior team during those years. Now, whether they win the titles, we don't know. We'll never know. But if they did win the 8 straight titles, is there any debate on God's green earth that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player that ever lived? And I don't know. I don't know. Can you even debate it at that point?
No, you can't debate it. At that
point. Okay, so now, just because he didn't win and he stepped away to play basketball, and the naysayers are going to say, like they brought up last night on the shows, that he was quote-unquote suspended for gambling or whatever it is. I mean, there was a little, you gotta, even back then, there was like, what the heck is going on? Why is he leaving to go play baseball? And nobody really understood it. Was it because his dad wanted him to be a baseball player? I've heard that story. Was it because he just needed a new challenge? Because it sounded like he was bored when he talked to Phil Jackson and said, hey, I've accomplished everything at this level. I need a new challenge. Baseball is a very big challenge. Like, if I could go do this, and there's a lot of people that say if he would have stuck with it, he could have made the major leagues. I don't know about that. But my question is,
he wasn't a Major League Baseball player. I mean, that's
no, I agree. But my question is, if we're willing to say if they would have won 8 titles, and we agree they very well could have won all 8 straight, why is there even a debate just because they didn't win the 2 when he wasn't in the league? When he came back, I mean,
because that's 2 more years of pounding on him. So
correct.
You can't assume the last 3 if you give him the next 2.
You can't assume anything. But what I can assume was that,
in all honesty, if he plays the next 2 seasons, you can't assume he ever wins again.
No, he might, and also he may win 2 right there and then officially retire and never come back.
Or take a beating those 2 years and never win again.
That's what I'm saying. There's no telling what would have happened.
You can't do it. It's impossible.
But
you go at it from both
my question is, if the greatness was there, him backing out those 2 years should not have an impact in the discussion. If you say he's the greatest if he won all 8, and we say they very well could have won all 8 if he played those, and we don't know because we don't have a crystal ball, obviously, of what would have happened, he may have had a devastating injury and never played again after. And like, nobody knows. But the greatness of him coming back after retiring and carrying that team to another 3 titles, I think a lot has to be said about that. So that's
my argument for LeBron, and I'll go back to it for the LeBron-Jordan debate, is that, well, again, I've told you this on a couple of episodes, no one's ever gotten a worse team to the finals than the 07 Cavs. And the teams that the Cavaliers had to play, those Warrior teams are significantly better than any team that Jordan had to face in the finals. Significantly better. And when granted, Jordan's teams weren't technically great in the 80s, but when he did have to play great teams, he lost. So that's all my only argument. Those teams in the early 90s, late 90s, I mean, you had Stockton and Malone 33 and 34. Come on. Those are not great teams. Jeff Hornacek, Greg Ostertag,
But back then they didn't build super teams, Steve. They just, he's up against a super team now. It's a different era of basketball.
Yeah, but what's the difference between a super team? What they had a super team, but it just was drafted and added. Technically, super team and Jordan, Rodman, Pippen, and Kukoc. I mean, that would be considered a super team.
They were the super team. That's what I mean. Like, they were the super team. But that would be like, they didn't lose, though. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, so when they were the super team, they didn't lose. LeBron was on super teams and lost. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's a very fair argument.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he went. So if the Bulls are a super team, they still did what they were supposed to do.
People excuse the 95 season like it didn't happen. I mean, they got beat.
They did, but he came back. He was 17 games in.
Yeah, but I mean, it happened.
No, they got beat, but also that wasn't Jordan. I mean, his mind wasn't on basketball. Like, he just decided, hey, I'm going to come back and play halfway through the season. Obviously, he wasn't training for it. He didn't have time. So that has a lot to do with it. But you're right, they lost. I mean, there's nothing you can say about it. They lost that year. But just the fact that he came back, they made the playoffs, and he didn't perform terribly. I mean, he
had a good series.
Dude, he came back with the Wizard and was still averaging over 20 points a game when he was like 40.
Yeah, that's a fair argument.
That's the part. Like, I just think that it's a different NBA, definitely.
I think you would. Let me ask you this question: apart from the career, if you're starting a franchise and you could have both players at 18, which one are you taking?
Both players at 18. Jordan wasn't what he was at 18.
Okay, you could have both players at 22.
I take Jordan.
See, that's where I differ.
I think that Jordan had that competition in him that you just don't see anymore. That I'm gonna just do whatever it takes to win. That you don't see a lot in sports anymore. You just don't. And whether it was right or wrong back then, that's how I was raised. That's how I grew up. Like, you don't quit. You don't give up. You don't. If you lose to that guy or to that team, you bust your ass in the off season to try and beat them. You don't join them. That's just my mentality. That is an old school mentality, I guess, that a lot of players don't have anymore. And I get it; they make millions of dollars. Nobody.
Yeah, but you're also talking about different eras.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But there wasn't a free agency in the 80s and the 70s that there was now. I mean,
but there was also loyalty too. Like, guys got drafted by a team and they wanted to win with the team they got drafted with, and it wasn't until they were completely frustrated that they were like, "I'm out of here." I think for the most part, like, we watch guys.
Say that's over, but you still see that. For every person that leaves, you still have your Wades, you still have your Currys, you still have your Dirks, you still have your Olajuwons. I mean, I know that a few of those guys went to other teams at the end, but they spent the majority of their career there.
The first player, and there might have been more before this, but the first player I remember leaving a team where they were like a superstar to go play for another team, kind of on the tail end of their career and still kind of win, was Joe Montana. Because I don't think I remember another athlete at that level.
Well, Joe Montana got forced out. That's
that's I don't remember. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, most guys want to stay with the team back then that they were drafted with. I think Tom Brady was in the same boat. Yeah, but you got
stories all the way going back to the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I mean, Jabbar forced his way out of Milwaukee. So there's been multiple stories of guys. Elway didn't want to play with the Colts in '83 at the draft.
Yeah.
You got multiple stories of that, but I understand your premise of I'd always rather see a team. I mean, take Durant. You're telling me that Durant Warriors title. Granted, that might be the best team ever. I'm not saying they're not, but you're telling me that title meant as much to him as if he won it with OKC? No way. No way, Mitch. It can't mean the same.
No, and my closing remark on this, and then I'll let you rebut it, is one of the main things I brought up to you when we were having this discussion was that I felt like in this lack of defense era where guys don't sweat. I don't understand how it's possible, but these players don't sweat anymore. And
a lot of that's probably the conditioning too, though. No,
come on, you think that they're better conditioned now? Like, I I don't buy that.
Yes.
I think that they have advanced training techniques now, but I don't know if an athlete is in. I mean, you had to get in. You're right, though. They smoke cigarettes. They drink beers. I get it.
Drinking beers.
But they don't sweat. That usually gives me an indication that you're working harder. But you could be right. Maybe they're just, better acclimated to the conditions.
I'm also thinking heating and cooling systems have probably improved over the.
There's not a cloud of cigarette smoke in the arena anymore from all the fans smoking.
Yeah,
Dude,
there's no guy sparking Marlboro Reds in the second row.
Dude, the players used to have to play, and smoking was allowed in an indoor arena.
It's like a bowling alley.
Those guys, how are they not? How do they have bowling alley? It's like OTB. How do they not have lung cancer? Players gasping for air, sprinting down in an indoor arena. People are smoking in the stand. Cigars, cigarettes. Like
I have that. On that note, Mitch, we can go to Mosaic because I have no rebuttal for that one.
No, but what I was going to bring up was what I said originally was that in this era where Steph Curry could literally do a Bugs Bunny around the court and then shoot a three-pointer from half court and not get touched, which is preposterous, that Jordan would put up 40 a game. Now, you said, hell no, he'd put up less. But I just...
Jordan would be very, very hurt. Now, you could argue that Jordan would just pump out 300 threes a day in the summer and become a good three-point shooter.
That was going to be my argument.
Very poor long-range shooter. So I feel... the spacing would be a problem for him. But then you could say then the court would be more space to give him more driving lanes.
Exactly.
I don't know. You can go back and forth on that one.
But I was just going to point out that a couple of NBA players also have said he would score 40 a game. Charles Barkley, one of them. So, I mean, I never played in the NBA, so I don't know. It was me just saying, hey, the way I looked at it, but I just wanted to point that out. So I think you got to give him a little more credit.
I think the modern day Jordan is Kobe Bryant. I think you're looking at a similar type career as to what Kobe had, which is similar to what Jordan had.
One of the best videos I ever saw after he passed away was that video that literally, I think I might have sent it to you or you sent it to me, but that video that literally highlighted and showed Kobe, and they kind of intertwined Jordan, where like Kobe would start a move and then it would fade to Jordan, and it looked like you couldn't even tell the difference. It was so.
Oh, and Kobe owns up to that.
It's like literally, I've never seen anything like it. Like you might as well.
It's like a carbon. It's like a
it was
like a
Yep.
What's the word I'm looking for? Like they do with the sheep.
Clone him.
That's a clone. It's like an absolute clone of Jordan.
And obviously, you're not taking anything from Jordan. I'm not taking anything from LeBron. We both respect. I think LeBron's the greatest athlete I've ever seen play basketball. There's no question about that. I just compare.
My argument is always is that the media has deemed him number one, and if you want to put him number one, I'm fine with it. But it's the same argument I have with Ali, and don't even get me started on Ali being number one. There's an argument to be said for Jordan. To me, there's no argument with Ruth and Gretzky. You know that.
No, there's definitely not.
But I think with Jordan, you have an argument, and that's all I'm saying.
Well,
if you want to say he's number one, I can't argue with that. But I can tell you, Chamberlain's number one, and I could defend that till midnight. That's the only thing I'm saying is, if you want to have Jordan number one, I'm fine with it. But the media basically makes you sound like an ass if you don't have him number one. That's always the argument I have with Jordan. I think LeBron will be up higher, but the decision or whatever he called it, where would you have LeBron? That's out of curiosity.
I'd have him right behind Jordan right now.
Okay.
And then I'd put Wilt right there at number 3, because the only reason I wouldn't put Wilt higher is because I think he just played in an era where it's kind of, and this is the argument for Babe Ruth, he played in an era where he was just a freak of nature amongst other guys that just weren't up to his physical capabilities.
Here's the argument I have for Ruth. The argument I have for Ruth is Ruth didn't have an advantage over his other players. Like, guys are bigger in the major leagues. Don't get me wrong, and you have the black and the Asian and the Latin American. I think that's a bigger argument with Ruth than it is necessarily. Yeah. You know, I mean, he only played against. You know. Yeah,
that's the thing. There was yes. He only played against white players. That's the biggest argument that comes up.
I think that's the biggest argument against Ruth.
And it's a valid one, but we don't know. Well, I mean, the biggest argument against Ruth would be, or saying was just like generationally, and I'm on the Ruth side of it, believe it or not, because the same reason I'm on the Jordan side of it, because I think that when you have those players. Maybe not Ruth. I don't know enough about Ruth to say that his mentality, he would have adapted to the style of play. He would have, put in, like you said before, spent a whole summer just shooting 3-pointers to make sure that he perfected his game. Like Jordan's I don't know if Babe Ruth was. I don't know enough about him to make that sort of.
It's also tough with Ruth too, because you got to take the pitching into his own pitching that he was a star pitcher too.
Yeah,
that's why it makes it, the Ruth argument is hard. But
yeah,
I think the main argument we have with the LeBron Jordan is I just can't get past the physicality of LeBron. I've never seen anybody like him. I've never seen anybody before him, after him. That's what I've seen Jordan. I've seen Jordan clones. Kobe just retired, passed away unfortunately, but there's been clones of Jordan. There is not a guy you could even remotely put in LeBron's category physically.
Right, but now here. Hey, do you remember? I know you've seen the movie Rudy, right? And we'll end on this. This is how I think of LeBron, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not taking away from his greatness, but is he becoming the greatest? He could be the greatest player that ever lived and probably ever will live. But like in Rudy,
he could have. If you give LeBron, if you flip over a few of those LeBron results. And you gave him 6 or 7 titles, you probably could argue that LeBron's the greatest athlete of all time.
And here's why I bring up Rudy, because there's a scene in Rudy which includes one of our favorite actors of all time, Vince Vaughn. Many people may not realize he's actually in that movie, but he's I believe, a third-string running back, and in the last practice, he gives Rudy shit for going too hard, and then the coach...
Puffy face Vince Vaughn.
Yes, very young, very svelte, and he gives him shit for going too hard and tackling him a little too hard. And the coach says to Vince Vaughn, I forget the character's name, I'll just call him Vince Vaughn. He says, "You basically, I'm gonna paraphrase here, but you'll get the idea." He says, "You would have been an All-American had you had an ounce of the heart of Rudy Rudiger." Now. That's how I feel about LeBron on a certain level. I'm not saying that he doesn't have heart, or don't take this the wrong way. What I'm saying is, if he had that quote-unquote what they call the Mamba mentality, which I think is what Jordan had, is what Kobe took from Jordan, and LeBron tried to be his own man. He didn't want to be, and I respect that. Kobe, like you said, dude, I tried to mimic my game off Jordan. I did everything like him. I took his mentality. I did everything. I soaked him up like a sponge. And I think LeBron set out to be something different, and he did. Now, if he had that killer instinct, I think there's no I don't think he loses an NBA Finals if he had that killer instinct. And maybe one play, and I say it's the greatest play I've ever seen on the basketball court watching basketball. And I'll remember it to the day I die. And it's It's a LeBron James play,
the block.
Yes, that block when he came from behind.
The block's the greatest basketball play I've ever seen.
100%. And if he played his entire career with that intensity, not regular season games, but the playoffs, every game with that type of intensity. Which he did. He turned it on and turned it off. But Jordan never turned it off. He might have had a bad game here and there, but he never turned it off. I feel like LeBron could turn it on and turn it off when he wants. And maybe that's unfair that I'm saying that about him. But that, to me, was the greatest play I ever saw in my life. And that turned me back into a LeBron fan. Like, after the decision, I was like, F LeBron. I was like, I can't believe it. Part of it's because I'm a Knicks fan. I thought he was coming to the Knicks. But for the most part, I thought that play was one of the greatest plays I ever saw in sports. He came out of freaking nowhere, and like they were gonna win. I just can't even talk about it. Like that play was something I will never forget for the rest of my life. And that's when the only other play in basketball I could think of is the Jordan shot against the Cavs, where that one shot with him jumping and the way he reacted, but that doesn't even hold a candle to that LeBron block.
No,
it doesn't.
No, it does not. That last 5 minutes that he played in Game 7 is
right.
Unbelievable.
Which means to me he could do it when he wants to. And why aren't you doing that all the time? Is it because you want to extend your career as long as you can? So, like, I have so many questions that are you leaving it all on the court, or are you trying to extend your career? Which is fine. But that to me wouldn't make you the greatest because you're holding back to extend your career, and you're a compiler then. And then you're compiling stats because you're playing longer. And he's still great, don't get me wrong. But are you leaving something in the tank where Jordan wouldn't? Like, I don't think Jordan would leave anything in the freaking tank.
I think that's your argument.
Yeah, that's the only argument I have against him, and I still think he's great. But I just think he could be the greatest ever.
That's your argument if you're on the Jordan side.
It wouldn't even be close if LeBron had that Mamba mentality. Let's put it that way. I totally see it. I agree with it. And I'm not taking anything away from him. I am more upset that I think he could have emptied the tank a little bit more. Like what he showed in that play, if he did that more often, I think that there would be no question about any. I think he would have more titles.
Yeah, because you watch games like the J.R. Smith brain fart game.
Yeah.
That's one of the best games. LeBron played one of the best games. That's probably the best game I've ever seen played in my life.
Yes.
In my life.
Yes.
So I think that's a fair argument.
But I think we've had enough of this argument. It's time to get into some cards now. So, what we have on the table today is 2019-2020 Panini Mosaic. Over the past few years, it was a Prism product, as we talked about earlier, Steven.
Yes, we did.
It was Prism Mosaic, and it was an online exclusive product. I was not a particular fan. I'll give you an idea of what the older cards look like. Here is an idea. They all looked like this. Every single one. I just wasn't a fan. The logo, the Prism Mosaic logo up top. Every card was almost, I don't even know what you would call this kind, almost like an X-Fractor. Well, I don't know what you would call that kind of prism. Can you see that, Steve, or no?
Yes, I can.
There you go. So even the base cards, I mean, that was a rookie card, but here's a base card. This is from 2017-18, I believe. I didn't get any from last year. So I'm not sure what last year looks like, but these are all maps, so I must add the maps in like a mega mixer. And that's what they look like. I was not a fan.
It almost felt like an entire set of parallels.
Pretty much, yeah. You're absolutely right. But I just don't like the way they just wrote the mosaic across the top, the way they did, if that makes sense. I like this design. Much cleaner. Much cleaner. Much nicer. We're looking at retail now. Now, the hobby comes out. Let me see. I have the checklist up here. Give me 2 seconds. The hobby comes out. It's going to be pricey, too, because when I'm looking at Cardboard Connection right now, they're saying the hobby box is $600 per box.
Is Panini doing a Dutch auction on those?
I think they are for first off the line, which I think comes out tomorrow or maybe the day after, I want to say. So there is a Dutch.
At about $8,000.
I think they start. No, I think they start at 5 and go backwards. I haven't looked though. I was watching the sneaker stuff today and it was just out of control, so I just stopped looking. But I'll take you through some of the cards. I like them. I really do. So the base card is a base. I want to say Prism, but it's not a Prism card. But it's a nice silver, and we have some reflection going on here. So, unfortunately, let me take this out of the top loader. See if that helps. These cards are very reflective, so it may not even help. But here is an idea of what the base card looks like. Here you go, Steve, and here you go for all that are watching. That's a Zion.
It almost has a. You familiar with Majestic? Mitch?
Yes.
It almost has a Majestic look.
Yep. And I like the logo of just the M in the corner, much cleaner. Here is the reactive orange, and here's a LeBron reactive orange. Beautiful cards, really. I mean, I really like them.
What's the numbering on that, Mitch?
There's no numbering on the retail cards at all.
Okay.
I'll get into some of the hobby stuff in a minute. Here's a John Morant NBA debut. Here's the lighting, that much better lighting. But I love that's called the reactive orange. So in retail, you have your silver parallel, which I didn't bring up silver down here. Unfortunately, I don't have one with me. But they have obviously the base. They have camo pink, which I have not seen one of camo pink. They have the Genesis, which kind of reminds me of like a Nebula type, and I like that look. I haven't pulled any. Obviously, they have the green. Here's a green. It's a Jared Culver green. So that's what the green looks like. Really nice design. And also, you'll remember from football, Steve, that the inserts with the stained glass, they brought them back in basketball. So
okay.
These are stained glass. I like them. They look really cool. Here's a green stained glass of Chris Webber. I like the stained glass.
Those are good.
Yeah, I like the inserts of those, and I love the USA. They have these and all these come in base and all the different prism options. But here's a orange, reactive orange Scottie Pippen USA card, which I think is cool because they put the American flag in the background, and I mean it's a really cool design.
Those are very cool cards.
And here, I don't know which one. Here's two different Kobe's. So in retail, I believe they come in the hangers. You do get sometimes a variation, an image variation. So
the photo variations drive me crazy.
I did not look to see which one is the image variation. I'm gonna assume it's the black jersey, but here's two different Kobe White base rookie cards. But one's, let me see if it says it on the back. No, they both say 211. There's nothing that would tell you any different. I would have to check the checklist probably and see which one is the image variation there. So those are the basic look. I really like them. The design, I think they're super clean, much nicer than I thought they were going to be. Like I said, when I heard Mosaic was coming out, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole normally. And then I saw a couple of it break, and I said, you know what? I kind of like this. So I started buying some of them. The only place I can get them is through breakers right now. Hopefully some of the hobby boxes. And let me tell you something. Some of the cases are being listed on some of these breaker sites. And if you want to look for, if you're looking to buy the Pelicans, you're talking about $1,700 for the Pelicans in a case break for this. The Grizzlies are somewhere around $700. The Bulls, I thought were reasonable priced at $250. From what I've seen, obviously I haven't checked every breaker's website out, but the Choice is coming out with a new parallel. You know how they have Tiger Stripe and Prism?
Yep.
It's called the Peacock, and literally has peacock feathers on it, and it's green. And if you have a chance, look that up. It's a really cool. I think it's awesome. They look cool. So like down in this area here, there's peacock feathers. So imagine here. I'll show you the green. So
that's an American product or an
Choice
Asia?
I believe is Prism or Mosaic Asia.
Okay.
But I didn't do enough research on it to know for sure. But imagine this is your peacock. It almost looks the same, except like in the corners here, you will have peacock feather prisms going like around the sides here. It's really, it looks really nice. It's really cool. You would think it sounds cheesy, but it actually looks pretty freaking cool. But aside from that, some of the hobby parallels, you got the blue number to 99, purple to 49. You got your orange fluorescent to 25, white to 25, blue fluorescent to 15, gold to 10, pink fluorescent to 10 and black 1 of 1, and then you get your choice parallels, which are the Fusion Red, the Black Gold, the Nebula, and the Peacock, which is an SSP. I don't know the print run on those. I know Nebulas are normally 1 of 1. I don't know if the Peacock now surpassed that as the 1 of 1, or if it's going to be like a Tiger, where for the most part I believe Tigers are out of 10. I've heard out of 75. I mean, who the heck knows anymore? I thought they were out of 10. I heard this year they're out of 75. But some of the retail exclusive prisms, the cool ones are obviously the Genesis. That looks a lot like I would say it looks like a Nebula almost, but it's not numbered. The reactive, the reactive oranges, which you can see up on the table, and you got your silvers as well, which I did not show, but I do have a silver. I don't even know what this would be considered, to be honest with you. This one right here, it's not a silver, but it's a silver, if that makes sense. So this is a silver. I don't know what they would call this, to be honest with you. Out of these up here, it's not numbered. It does have a silver, obviously, tinge to it, but the silvers are actually like, they're like the base cards, except they're like refractors almost, basically, like a silver prism would be. There's none of the this mosaic type prism here where it's the boxes. It's just, this is silver and that's it. But all in all, I love the product. Super clean. Really nice addition to the Panini line of cards. I wish I could find more of it out in the wild, because it's wild how expensive some of it is on the secondary market already. But if you do breaks, you cut down some of those costs, and you could, pull some cards like the ones you see on the table here. I had some more John Morant's coming that haven't arrived yet. I was hoping to show those today, but those are the ones stuck in the matrix right now. I'm looking forward to them arriving hopefully tomorrow. It'll be
Mitch,
too late.
want a good sign of how hot basketball is right now?
Sure. I'm always up for good signs.
One of the major breakers, and I can't remember which one, was doing a hoops break.
Okay.
When you say a hoops break, you know that sport is hot.
Hoops?
The literal brand hoops.
Funny, here's, you want to laugh that you bring that up. I actually bought a hobby box of hoops 2018, 2019 last week, because hoops was the only Luka Doncic rookie out of like the basic rookie cards that I have.
I don't think I've even seen a hoops. It's never broken. I don't think I've ever even seen a hoops box opened.
You'd be surprised. They have some pretty cool. If it's a hobby box, they have some pretty cool stuff in there. It's not spectacular.
Hoops would be on the same line as Donruss, above or below?
That's a damn good question. Really good question. You know what I would love to see? Hoops Choice, or like a Hoops, because they make Donruss Choice now,
or a Hoops Optic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that, like with a chrome, because I think that has a lot of potential. I'm surprised they haven't tried it.
Nostalgic. I like the nostalgia of hoops.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's another product. I mean, Donruss Choice, like I said. I think, did we review that? I think we did. No, I didn't review that here. I got to review that because I love that product too. We got to review Donruss Choice, because that was a product that took the base Donruss to another level with the infinite hollows and prisms. I think those cards were well designed, and I think Hoops did something similar, like a Hoops Choice.
Okay.
I mean, let's face it, anything basketball sells. Like we said today, 1987 Topps is selling right now if it's a PSA 10. I've never seen anything like this in the hobby.
I mean, I had shoe boxes full of that garbage. I probably still do.
Shoe boxes of 1987 Topps.
Just absolute junk.
Let me see. I don't think I have anything else. Obviously, there'll be autos in some of the hobby stuff, and there's autos in retail as well, but they're a lot harder to come by in Mosaic. But for the most part, that's it, man. I mean, it's a solid. Oh, wow. Wow. Wait till you see this insert, Steve. I got to put this up on the screen because this may be. Is this only in. Oh, please tell me that this is in. I'll buy. This is the coolest insert I've ever seen. Remember NBA Jam, the basketball game?
Of course.
They have an insert called Jam Masters, which is basically like the background of NBA Jam, but on a card. I got to show you this. Hold on. I'll bring it up on the screen.
That'll sell well.
I'll show you. Hold on. Dude.
Yeah, that'll sell well.
NBA Jam, basically. Oh, I got to collect
What's
these.
that, like an SSD?
No, that's just a regular insert. Jam Masters, it's called. Jam Master, it's 20 cards. It doesn't look like it's exclusive. Who's in it? Spud Webb, Julius Erving, DeAndre Jordan, Giannis, LeBron. There's not too many. Oh, Dominique, baby. There's not. I might have a Jam Masters Dominique upstairs. And just didn't even realize I had it in the box. I just might have passed right past it. I definitely have a Dominique insert upstairs. I wish I would have known. If it's Jam Masters, I'm going to lose it. Because that might be one. Let me bring it up on the screen for everyone to see real quick. This is a really, really cool insert here. I mean, look at that, guys. Jam Masters, if you're a fan of NBA Jam, got to be all over that. And I was a big fan of NBA Jam. Anytime I go to an arcade, I see it, I'm playing NBA Jam. In fact, when it comes out, I believe it's due to release this summer, the NBA Jam.
The countertop?
Yeah, not a countertop, but the home arcade. I forget the company that makes them. But I'm definitely getting it. NBA Jam is coming out, so I'm definitely getting that 100% because nothing lives up to NBA Jam. So that's Mosaic. Steve, what do you think? Clean, right?
It's a very clean product. I would give it a thumbs up. I think it's a really nice product. Unfortunately, basketball it's outrageous right now.
It is, and it's outrageous in a good way, I think. Like I said, we ride the wave,
Yep.
and we have our fun. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, you can't find the stuff in stores, then you're paying on the secondary market. It would be a lot more fun, I think, if people could grab it. But hey, I'm still having my fun when and where I can, and I think everyone else should too. Just be smart about it, have your fun, and that's our review of Mosaic. I would buy it. I mean, I would buy more of it. I'm excited to see what the hobby boxes and cases bring because I love the retail version of it. Of course, hobby might be a little pricey for some people, so stick with the retail then if you can find it at a reasonable price because you get a lot of cool inserts. You get some nice cards. I mean, it's a good. I always like products where you could get good cards in retail that you could also find in hobby, but at a fraction of the cost. I think that's why.
And to be honest with you, Mitch, with a lot of these products, like a Prism, like a Mosaic, the base rookies are the same, regardless of the retail and hobby.
You're right.
I mean, we've talked about this. Some of the autos in Prism are abysmal.
I'd rather not even get them, to be honest.
So if you're not really worried about that, granted, there's some hobby only parallels. But some of the retail-only parallels are just as you sell for just as much on the secondary.
I agree. Yeah.
So on these particular products where they're not RPA-centric or auto-centric, I don't think you could go wrong with retail at what, Mitch? Probably 25 to 50% of the cost?
Yeah.
You would know better than I would.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Definitely. I think the blasters and the mega boxes of this are getting quite expensive, but it's still a fraction of the cost of a hobby box. Now, if you're talking about breaking, it's even cheaper. So, I mean, it's whatever you could fit within your budget and try to have some fun and try to, be smart about it. You could have fun and be smart about it and still find some cards that are worth a good amount of money as well as that are fun to collect, and this product does not disappoint. I really do like it. I want to say I like it better than Prism. Like, honestly, I do like it better than Prism because I just like the style. I like the different Those USA cards are amazing. Those stained glass cards are amazing. The Peacock card is cool as hell. I mean, I know that's choice, but there's a lot of cards in this. The design, I want to say, is nicer than Prism. Prism's pretty basic. You're looking for I know it's the creme de la creme, the official rookie card, blah, blah, blah. But if you're looking for like a clean design, nice, like I think the M logo on the front, I think that if they shrunk that, or in some, like on some of these stained glass, the M logo's a smaller. I think if they would have made the M a little smaller, the cards would have been even nicer. But I'm fine with it. I like it a lot. That's my take on it.
I agree.
Yeah, that's my take.
And the reason I'm always drawn to Prism is I like products where you're not opening a box. You have this is my big problem with Contenders. I know there's more autos than they used to be, but my problem always with Contenders and your SP Authentics was always when you're chasing those one or two autographs and they're bummed and the rest of the box is worthless. That's painful. With products like this, you're going to get a multitude of cards you could sell in a box.
Oh, 100%.
And I like that feature where you're not chasing the one card or the two cards, and you get an undrafted free agent and you want to, jump out the window. And
the Zions are still kind of rare, and all these guys are kind of rare. Like I've seen I bought I want to say 5 or 6 hangers of this. Hangers. I don't think I did mega boxes, but this is basically the good stuff that came out of maybe 5 hangers. I know I said I got 3 more John Morants coming, but
best investment in the hobby.
But for the most part, the stuff. I mean, I one Zion, one LeBron. You're not hitting them in every, so they're not common. So there's still some scarcity there, even though it's retail, if that makes sense. So when you pull it, it's that more exciting. But that's all we had for this week. Steve, you have any closing remarks? Anything you want to say?
No, nothing much. Looking forward to a good second week for us, and a lot of different. We're going to hit on a lot of different topics coming up.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't really set out the schedule for the rest of the week, but since the Mosaic came in today, I figured today would be a good day to pop it in and review it, especially with First Off the Line, I believe, pops tomorrow or maybe the day after, and then Hobby comes out on May 20th. So it's right around the corner next week or a week and a half from now. So excited to see that. Love the retail product so far. I'll continue to probably buy the retail. But with that being said, that's our show for this week. Remember to click subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, on our group Monster Hits Club for exciting breaks. We got high-end box breaks. We have high-end card razzes. So we're looking to fill those. Obviously, after our podcast, we are looking to do breaks the rest of the night. And hopefully very soon, some of those breaks will be filled up and we can start and get the ball rolling there. And we'll have a lot of fun doing it and learn in the process. So aside from that, hope you guys had a great night, or have a great night, have a great week, and we will talk to you tomorrow.